Good morning, students. I'm Ms. Rukmanisha, your biology teacher. So, as we have completed chapter 1 and 2, now we will begin with chapter 3, that is the Plantae kingdom. In chapter 1, we have learned the basic concept on classification. We have learned words like taxon, taxa, taxonomic hierarchy, binomial nomenclature, and in chapter 2 we have learned the major groups of the kingdom such as Monera, Protista, and fungi, their characteristics and their natures we have learned. So in chapter 3 we'll be learning plant kingdom. Okay, so chapter 3 is about plant kingdom. As I told you earlier in the previous chapter also, that in this chapters we are basically we have to learn what the characters, okay, the characteristic features and the salient features, all right, and the classes and the kingdoms and their examples, their names of the different classes and names of their different examples. Okay, so we have to learn that, and also we have to learn the characters, okay, different organisms, in what way they are classified into this kingdom, on basis of what character they are classified into this kingdom. So all these characters, different characters which we are learning, so that facts only we have to learn here. So it is not complete, it is not at all an application based chapter. These are knowledge based chapters. Okay, so that's why in this chapter, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, you will have to do more of learning the names, characters, or learning. Okay, it is less about less about application. Okay, applying. So of course very few questions are there which are application based, but basically it is knowledge based. Okay, so salient features, we will be learning in this chapter the salient features and the characteristics of major groups of Plantae kingdom. Okay, and before starting with the Plantae kingdom, let us recall some portion of from the previous chapter, that from Linnaeus two kingdom system we have learned that all the organisms were classified into two kingdoms, Plantae and animal, which was not correct, right? Because all animals cannot be categorized. Even unicellular were categorized under the Plantae kingdom. Unicellular bacteria was categorized under Plantae kingdom just because it was having a cell wall. Okay, so after that the five kingdom system was given by R.H. Whittaker, and then all this process of promoting the system was done by different scientists. Okay, so as we have seen in the previous how this evolution of classifying has taken place, as we have seen previously, the two kingdom system was implemented. So later on in two kingdom system, the characters were their characters, on the basis of which the grouping was done, was solely on the visible character, what characters which we see. Okay, vegetative character which we see, okay, what we see. So but gradually natural classification system came. Okay, the earlier classification system we call it as artificial system. Earlier what the classification was done, that was artificial system, where only the vegetative characters, vegetative character means the character which you see. Suppose you see a chair, okay, chair has a 4 leg, but with what chair is made up of, what is the durability of the chair, what is the flexibility of the chair, that we have not seen. Okay, on the basis of their 4 legs we have categorized them in one group. So in that case table also falls under the same category of the chair, but the nature of table and chair is different, right? So in that that is what I'm trying to say here, that artificial system classified chair and table together, but the new system which we call natural classification system have segregated table and chair separately, because table's purpose is different and chair's purpose is different. Their composition, their durability, flexibility will be different. Maybe from the common characteristic which you see, it has 4 legs and table also has 4 legs. Okay, just an example I am giving. So natural classification system, it was made to overcome natural classification system was made to overcome the artificial system which was made. Okay, so in this artificial system was based solely on the vegetative characters. Alright, so natural classification was based on the external characters and internal characters too. Okay, external characters and internal characters too. And when you say external characters, what do we see from outside? The plant looks green, it has a stem, but when you talk about the internal character, the vascular system comes, mesophyll cells, stomata, photosynthesis, respiration, this all comes. Okay, so the internal organ, I mean not the process but the internal organs. Okay, anatomy. So it talks about the anatomy, internal structure, internal characters. External characters, what do we see from the morphological characters which we see from outside. So this internal characters, internal classification was explained by George Betham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. Internal characteristics, okay, that is internal features, were explained by George Betham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. Okay. Now once the natural classification system came, then we got a broader way of classification. We got much more broader way of classification. Phylogenetic classification system. Another system came, that is phylogenetic classification system. So phylogenetic classification system is, now we are classifying. So initially we were, which was wrong, okay, which was very limited. Initially we were classifying only on the basis of their external features. Okay, then we came to the next level, the higher level. We improved, and that is natural classification system. Where we classify on the basis of internal as well as external features. Okay, then we improved to phylogenetic classification system, where we could also group the organism on the basis of evolutionary relationship. Okay, that means the organism which shares the same common ancestor. For example, we come under the same group of mammals, comes under the same group. So you can relate mammal like lion and mammal like human. Okay, our nature is quite different, but we fall under the same category of mammals. Why? Because we share an evolutionary relationship. Mammals' ancestor, lion's ancestor, and my ancestor are common in far relation. In far relation, we are related far. With whom we are closely related? We are closely related with chimps and apes. But if you see cattle, cats, we are far related. So but we are related, right? So we are far related, close related. So on the basis of the ancestor. So on the basis of this, phylogenetic classification system came, that is on the basis of evolutionary relationship. Alright, next which helped us to next system is not on the next system, the numerical taxonomy. Numerical taxonomy by the help of, based on numbers and codes, by the help of computer, we segregate or we label, we give a code or we give a number to certain character, to certain organism's name. So when you number them or when you give a code to a character, so on the basis of that code, we can group the organism. For example, let us give a code asexually reproducing organism. Okay, so asexually reproduction, we are numbering them as 1, asexual reproduction. This character or this feature. Okay, but under asexual reproduction several features come. Fragmentation comes, and then budding comes. So let me give it a code. Okay, fragmentation I'm giving a code 1, Roman number 1, and budding I'm giving a Roman number 2. Okay, then we take an example of yeast, and we take an example of a spirogyra. So spirogyra is an algae, yeast is a fungi. Okay, both of them they opt for asexual reproduction. So in that case, both yeast and spirogyra, the numbering is same, but their mode of asexual reproduction is different. So spirogyra's coding will be 1, they do fragmentation, and yeast they do budding, so their coding will be different. Okay, so here in that way numbering and coding will help us to remove confusion, because there are so many characters and there are so many organisms, so numbering and coding will help us. Okay, so next is cytotaxonomy. Cytotaxonomy is based on chromosome number, structure and behavior. Chromosome number, structure and behavior. So finally we can also differentiate organism on the basis of the number of chromosomes present in their cells. Okay, different organism has different number of chromosomes. For example, human being has 46 number of chromosomes, mouse have 40 number of chromosomes, and pea plant has 14 number of chromosomes. So in that way they are different from each other. Okay, though mouse and human being they are mammals, they share so many similar characteristics, but still they will be different, because mouse has 40 number of chromosomes whereas human being have 46 number of chromosomes. So on the basis of chromosome number and the cell structure and their cell behavior, we can differentiate different organisms. The next is chemotaxonomy. Chemotaxonomy is based on chemical constituent of the plants. Now some plants we categorize them separately, and the other plant we categorize them separately because their cell wall, the plant cell wall is made up of different component. Like some plant cell wall is made up of pectin, some plant cell wall is made up of cellulose. So on the basis of that we differentiate them. Okay, so chemical composition we say. I just gave you one example. Like that, on the basis of chemical composition we differentiate different organisms. So now in this chapter we will be learning the major groups of plants. Drop this also. Major groups of plants. So the major groups of plants are algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm and angiosperm. Okay, so first we will begin with algae. So we will write their characters and discuss about it. Anything new, then we will discuss. Otherwise you all know about the habitat. Algae live in marine water or fresh water. What is there to explain? There is nothing, right? Algae, they have chlorophyll. So if any organism or if any cell has chlorophyll, we automatically know that it is photosynthetic, autotrophic. Okay, so those characters we will be writing, and some new characters if it come across, then we will explain it. Okay, so algae are, we will write their general characteristic. Algae are chlorophyll bearing. They have chlorophyll. Simple in structure, thalloid. Now, thalloid means a simple body organization of any organism. You can say, like if I draw an organism like this. Like in case of human, we have head and skin and hands and limbs and eyes and sense organs and all this. Complex organization. And in case of plants, they have leaves, and leaves have stomata, then stem has vascular body, roots have root hairs and vascular system. So it's a complex organism. But when I say thalloid, it's a simple organization which are made up of simple tissue, and it does not have any complex organization of tissue. Okay, they don't have any complex organization of tissue. So thalloid, it's a simple organized body. Okay, without any complex organization of any tissue. And where they are autotrophic. So we come to know autotrophic because they have chlorophyll. Still I'm writing. They are autotrophic, and they are found in habitat, fresh water and marine water. Okay, in areas such as where the stone is moist, soil, moist stone, soil and wood. These are the places where you will find algae. And where, how do you find algae? In what forms and in what size you find them? Forms and size, you will find them in colonial forms such as volvox is an example. You will find them colonies, like if this is an algae. So if these dots are algae, so they stay together in the form of a colony like this. So each dot is an algae, but they live all together in the form of a colony. Filamentous means thread-like. Okay, filamentous or thread-like. Example is Elotrix and Spirogyra. And massive plant body. Algae can be very big in size also, like a plant body. Not like a tree, of course, but a very small size comparing to the other algae. They are quite bigger. So some algae are very big. If you can, not like trees, but of course like shrubs. Kelps. Have you heard about kelps? Kelps are the if you have observed the documentaries on sea, water or ocean, so you might have seen a long leaf floating in the sea. Those long leaves are kelps. Okay, so what are those long? They are not the other plants like angiosperm or gymnosperm or flower bearing plants or pteridophyte, bryophyte. They are what? Algae. Okay, they are algae. And then their mode of reproduction. Almost we will be seeing the classes of algae, and there are 3 classes of algae, and in all these 3 classes of algae their mode of reproduction is same except the last one, rhodophyceae. We will see that. Okay, so algae basically they do reproduction by 3 means: vegetative, asexual and sexual. Okay, so vegetative means they do by fragmentation. And when they form these fragments, they are known as, they form a thallus. Through fragmentation, fragments are formed, and these fragments give rise to thallus. Thallus are the simple body from which a new algae can arise. Okay, so suppose this is an algae. Alright, so this is an algae, suppose. So fragmentation means it will break down into small pieces. They are fragmented into, now these are fragments. So now each fragments can give rise to one thallus body, and from that thallus body new algae will arise. Next, through asexual mode. Asexually, how do they reproduce? By the help of flagellated zoospores. So spore formation you can say. Flagellated means these spores, they have flagella. Okay, and sexual mode by the fusion of gametes. So the gametes can be flagellated non-flagellated. The gametes can be flagellated or non-flagellated. Okay, we will see the nature of gametes also after this. So here I guess it's clear. So we'll see the nature of gametes. In sexual reproduction, these gametes which we have seen, the gametes can have different nature. Gametes can be these gametes. Okay, this can be of 3 types. Sorry, spelling. Gametes can be isogamous, anisogamous, and oogamous. Okay, isogamous means when both the male gamete and female gamete are similar in size. Okay, example is Eulothrix and in Spirogyra you will see. Eulothrix and in Spirogyra we see. Alright. Anisogamous when the gametes are dissimilar in shape, size. In Eudorina. And oogamous when one of the gamete is motile and the other gamete is non-motile. Okay. Example is Volvox and Fucus. So I am giving you here, and in your textbook also lots of examples of algae are mentioned. Okay. So the diagrams also it's there in your textbook. So refer to the diagram whenever you go through this. Refer to the diagram. What I can draw here is a rough diagram. Okay. And then also for better understanding, you can refer the diagram from internet also. Alright. So these are the nature of gametes. Okay. Gametes can be of 3 nature, that is oogamous, anisogamous, isogamous. So when both the male and female gametes, see fusion of gametes leads to sexual reproduction. So when fusion of gametes means one of the gametes should be male, other gamete should be female for the fusion. So here, if both the male and female gametes are same in size, then it is called isogamous or isogamete. Okay, and anisogamete means when both the shape and size is different. And in this case, one of the gamete should be motile and other should be non-motile. Okay. So here the general characteristic of algae we have seen. Now we will see the significance of algae. In what way algae is beneficial for us? Significance of algae. So since algae they are photosynthetic. Why they are photosynthetic? Because they bear chlorophyll. All the algae they bear chlorophyll and they can make their own food, photosynthetic. So what is the plus point of photosynthetic? Any organism, generally which organism do photosynthetic and autotrophs, they are the producer, primary producer. So algae are primary producer of aquatic body. Okay, because mainly algae you will find them in aquatic region. Okay, fresh water or marine water, you will find them in aquatic region. So their main characteristic is photosynthetic, and due to which they can fix carbon dioxide. So they use the carbon dioxide from the environment for photosynthesis. So that's why they reduce the number of carbon dioxide from the environment. So that is the plus point, significance of algae. And second, since they are photosynthetic, they also reserve food. Right? They also reserve food, and there are so many algae like Porphyra. Let me write. Porphyra, Laminaria, and Sargassum, and Chlorella. We use this algae as food. Okay, these all algae can be used as food, and the most famous one is Chlorella. So Chlorella is used as a space food. Okay, astronauts Astronauts in space, they use the food chlorella. Okay, so there are some algae. When these algae make protein, those proteins are edible to us and we eat. So they are like a supplement of the food for us. Okay, and as we know, they are the primary producers, so they are the food for many organisms in water also. If algae are reduced, the other aquatic organism also will be reduced. They are very important part of the ecosystem. Since they are the primary producer, many aquatic organisms are dependent on algae. Okay. Next, from algae, we also get some commercial products. Okay, like we make ice cream and gelatin from Gelidium and Gracilaria. Gelidium and Gracilaria. From this two algae, we make ice cream and gelatin. And also from algae such as brown algae and red algae named as algae and carrageen. Algae and carrageen. Okay, so from algae is a red algae and carrageen is a brown. Algae is a brown algae, carrageen is a red algae, and from this algae we get some commercial products also. The products which we use in cosmetics or in lab or in some chemical products. Okay, for all this purpose, algae are also beneficial. So we have discussed 4 points in the significance of algae. Okay, you can rewind the video and then recall all the significance of algae. Now we will see the 3 main classes of algae. So what are we learning actually? We are learning plant kingdom, and under plant kingdom we are seeing 5 major groups. Okay, algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm, angiosperm. So first we are learning about algae. So we have seen the general characteristic of algae. Now we are going to see 3 main classes of algae. So the first class of algae is chlorophyceae. Okay, chlorophyceae. So chlorophyceae, they are also known as green algae. Alright, they are also known as green algae, and this chlorophyceae's body organization are unicellular, colonial and filamentous, which we have discussed earlier. Colonial, they stay in group, and filamentous, they can be thread-like. And they possess chloroplast. Okay, this chlorophyceae possesses chloroplast, which contains the pigment chlorophyll A and B. A and B. Pigments chlorophyll A and B. And this chloroplast shape can be of different shape and size. Can be of different shape like discoid plate, reticulate, cup shape, spiral shape, all this, etc., etc., different shape. And this chloroplast also, they have storage bodies, okay, known as pyrenoids. Okay, they have storage body known as pyrenoids. And this chlorophyceae, they have rigid cell wall. Rigid means very tough cell wall. Storage body means this is a food, okay, storage food. So like how we have food in our body in the form of glycogen, okay. Plants also have food stored. So every organism have food stored in their body in different forms. So in chlorophyceae, chloroplast has stored food in the form of pyrenoids, okay, and it has rigid cell wall where its inner layer is made up of cellulose and outer layer is made up of pectose. Okay, and they opt for their reproduction. They opt for all the reproduction. Okay, vegetative, that fragmentation, and asexually also they reproduce by the formation of flagellated zoospore. And also by sexual reproduction by all the modes. That is isogamous, anisogamous, and oogamous. It can be all. Okay. So example of chlorophyceae is Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Spirogyra, and Cara. Okay. Now we'll come to the second class. Second class of algae, that is Phaeophyceae. Phaeophyceae, which is also known as brown algae, and they are mainly marine dweller. They are found in marine, and their size and forms, they can be branched, such as scalps, and they can be filamentous, such as ectocarpus. Okay, and they contain chlorophyll, A, C, and also they contain carotenoids, pigments, xanthophyll, fucoxanthin, these are name of the pigments. Okay, these pigments give them color, and this pigment help them to do photosynthesis, trap light. Okay, many metabolic activities are done by these all pigments. Okay, so that's why they are brown in color, because of the presence of xanthophyll and fucoxanthin. Now they also, like chlorophyceae has stored food, pyrenoids, they also have stored food in the form of mannitol and laminarin, that is complex carbohydrate. Complex carbohydrate, mannitol and laminarin. Stored food. Okay, like how chlorophyceae has pyrenoids as a stored food in them, so Phaeophyceae also has stored food in them in the form of mannitol and laminarin, which are complex carbohydrate. Now the cell wall is made up of cellulose, so we call it as cellulosic wall. Cell wall is made up of cellulose, and also they are covered by a gelatinous sheet called algae. Covered by algae, which is a gelatinous sheet. Okay, and this Phaeophyceae has a structure which helps them to remain attached with the rock or any host body. Okay, suppose this is an algae. Suppose example kelp. Okay, so kelp remain attached to the bottom of the sea. So how do they remain attached to the bottom of the sea? By the hold fast. That structure is called hold fast. Okay, so they this algae can remain attached to substratum, any substance. It can remain attached to any substance by hold fast and style by the help of stalk and style, and causes a leaf-like frond. show you here. Let's suppose this is a piece of rock under the sea, alright, or the seabed. So over this seabed, with the help of hold fast, a structure like this, base, and then stalk. This is the stalk and stipe, which give rise to a leaf-like body. So kelp is like this. So this leaf-like part is known as frond. This stipe and stalk, and this bottom part is hold fast, which helps them to remain attached with any object in the sea body. Alright. Then we see their reproduction. Again, here they are also, they opt for all the three modes of reproduction, that is vegetative, by fragmentation, okay, and asexual by the help of biflagellate zoospore. Biflagellate zoospore means having two flagella. The spores will have two flagella. Sexual mode is by the union of gametes, all the three types, okay? All the three types of union of gamete. The gametes can be isogamous, gametes can be anisogamous, gametes can be oogamous, okay? So example of Phaeophyceae are Ectocarpus, Dictyota, Laminaria, Sargassum, Fucus. Okay, these are the examples. Now we'll come to the last part of last class of algae. That is Rhodophyceae. Rhodophyceae is also known as red algae. We write down the last class, Rhodophyceae. They are also known as red algae. Okay, and why they are red? Because they have red pigment known as R phycoerythrin. Phycoerythrin. This is the name of the pigment. Okay, and they are marine dwellers. They are found in marine habitat. Okay, and the red thelly. Again, thelly. Thelly means a simple body without complex organization of tissue. It can be as simple as this. I am repeating it again. Without any complex organization of tissue, made up of simple cells having pigments, red, and with the help of that pigment they will do photosynthesis, they will make food and store. Okay. Because algae are completely autotrophic, remember that. Red thelly are multicellular. And some have complex organization. Now, some multicellular red thelly have, some, very few, have complex organization. That means they have tissues. Some thelly can be modified into a complex organization. Now, the stored food which they have is known as floridine. Floridine. Remember different names of stored food in different class of algae. So this floridine is quite similar to amylopectin and glycogen. Glycogen is a stored food in our body. So this floridine is quite similar like a glycogen and amylopectin. And then their mode of reproduction. They also opt for all the three, but in sexual they opt for only oogamous. Okay, so they opt for vegetative, that is fragmentation, then asexual, There is non-motile spores, and in sexual they opt for oogamous, where oogamous means where one of the gamete will be motile and the other gamete will be non-motile. Okay. So example of red algae are Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, and Garidium. Okay. So here we conclude the class today here with the completion of algae. Then we will move in our next video. We will talk about pteridophytes and bryophytes together. Okay. And as an assignment, please take the table 3.1. Please draw the table 3.1 as your assignment and complete that assignment. So table 3.1 explains, it has in a tabular form, it has written all the characteristic of these three class of algae. Okay, and if you have any doubt, I am always there in WhatsApp. Please do message and clarify your doubts immediately. Okay, don't wait for the exam to come. Alright, and after the end of this chapter, as I have been uploading for all the chapters notes plus practice question paper, so use that practice question paper to analyze your knowledge. Okay, thank you and have a good day.